Good evening, friends. It's me from Denver, live from Denver. I just wanted to check in tonight. I have been in meetings and education all day, and we were talking a lot about change. And I'm going to stop wiggling in my chair. I'm in that cool modern chair in the room that I showed you guys. Hi, Ruth. But anyway, I was with about 100 nurses today, and we were doing education on motivational interviewing and change. And something that we focus on with our clients in my new job, and these clients are first-time moms. We want them to fulfill their dream of being the best mom that they can ever be. But a lot of times they come from situations that it makes it very difficult for them to become that mom of their dreams. And so we work with them, alongside them. We support them in making small changes so that they can realize their goals. And something that was really just sort of different that I had never heard before, and that I think that we can take and utilize in the weight loss community, is that relapse is a normal part of change. So relapse should be normalized because it is part of change. And I never really thought of that, but any change that you've made, any small change that you've made in your life, you know that it's very easy to go back to sort of the old way that you were doing things. And that is a normal part of the whole process in human beings when we're trying to make these changes. And so when we relapse in terms of our weight loss journey, if we go back to, like for me, stress eating, instead of beating myself up, realizing that a relapse is actually normal and part of that process, and that we can move past that and continue to change, I think is really important because we don't get stuck in the relapse. The other thing that my educator today kept saying that I think is so Weight Watchers appropriate is she kept saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself, which is, I think, Ice-T. And I was remembering like that song, check yourself before you wreck yourself, which is so appropriate for us in terms of planning and tracking. That, you know, we plan so we can check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. We track so that we can check ourselves before we wreck ourselves in terms of our plan. And so those two components today just sort of struck me in terms of my own attempt to change this thing. The other thing that we talked a lot about is that true change takes time. And she had everyone in the room raise their hand if they had something that they were trying to change. And then she said, how long have you been working on this? A month? And we all raised our hands. 6 months? We raised our hands. And none of us knew what kind of changes in the room were being worked on. Mine was weight loss, but who knows? I'm sure there were people in there that were trying to stop smoking. There were, one of the changes that I've been trying to make is daily prayer. And that's been difficult for me because I, relapse, get off track, and then have to get back into that discipline. But she said, how about a year? Everyone raised their hand in the room. So here I am with 100 nurses. We all have a change in mind that we've been trying to make. And we're all raising our hands that it's taken us over a year to make that change. Change is an ongoing process. So I know we talk in Weight Watchers a lot about, that click or the light bulb turning on, but that has to be, like I've talked about this before, an everyday reactivation and rededication to the change, because it's very easy to get off track and relapse. So I thought that was really sort of helpful for me to think about today, especially since I'm on a business trip. And as she's saying that, the tables are like covered with chocolate. We all came back from lunch and had like a kind of a slump. Your glucose levels go back down and everybody's like sleeping, and so they passed all kinds of chocolate out. And I was just thinking, like, Amy, remember, you can eat anything, you just can't eat everything. Remember, I talked to you guys about that on Saturday. That's what my coach said. So I had my one piece of chocolate and I tracked it. So I can have anything I want, I just can't have everything. I can't eat all the candy on the table, and the chips, and the popcorn that they had, and the cookies that they had. And, you know, we're nurses. They had some fruits and veggies, so I had that. But it's so funny how, and they said at the beginning of this conference, they're like, we're going to offer you snacks. We can't guarantee that they're going to be healthy, so you do what's best for you. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I am getting ready to go out to dinner with a friend of mine at 6:30 tonight. I don't know where she's taking me. She's taking me on a surprise. And I had chicken noodle soup for lunch today, and for breakfast I had a big 0 Point breakfast from the buffet downstairs. I had egg whites, lots of fruit, lots of water, and you know, I'm doing great, you guys. So I will see you all later. I just wanted to check in and share those little tidbits. Maybe they'll help you. You know, if you don't find them useful, jettison them out of your brain. And it sounds like Tanya, yes, I'm glad I'm experiencing Denver. It's beautiful. I think what is just so hard for me right now is I'm sitting on the 10th floor of a building downtown, and I am looking out during the day to the mountains, and I'm like so grateful for the view, but I want to be like out there. So I'm just trying to enjoy every moment that I do get to be outside. Dawn joined Planet Fitness. That's fabulous. Wonderful for you, Dawn. I did get on the treadmill this morning. Okay, so I have a funny story about this morning. I got up this morning at 5:15. I have a crick in my neck because of the pillows here. So I don't know if you guys call it a crick in your neck. I think that's maybe a Georgia term from when I lived in Georgia. But I woke up with a crick in my neck. Anyway, I woke up and I was like, I'm going to go work out because last night I ate some tiramisu. And so I went up to the 16th floor penthouse, 15th floor gym, and it has a beautiful view. And I go in there, and there's some very, very buff, fit guys in there. And so for me, what that looks like, what I feel like when I see that is like intimidation and a little bit of like embarrassment. So I don't know why. I looked terrible. My hair was like the crazy Amy hair that you guys have seen. And I was like, okay, doesn't matter. They don't care. I'm going to get on the elliptical and I'm going to work out. So I got on the elliptical. This elliptical had a very short stride. It was like, doo, doo, doo. Normally your elliptical is like this, right? It was like, doo, 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 like that. And it made a terrible noise while I was on it. So I'm telling you how I felt. Now, rationally, I'm like, oh, I don't care. But what I felt like was a ginormous elephant on this elliptical. And plus, it was not comfortable. So I got off of that after about 2 minutes. And meanwhile, these guys are over there doing lifts and crunches and lifting like the heaviest weights and yoga poses. One guy had his leg up like over his head. I don't know. So, I'm not trying to judge them, but I just was very cognizant of my surroundings. And so I went and got on the treadmill and I started walking, and it was making this like dying, wailing noise. And I thought, oh my goodness, like what is the problem? And it was this loud, it sounded like it needed to be oiled or greased or something. But the room was silent except for like their like grunting and everything. And then this terrible noise as I'm walking. So I changed treadmills again. Same noise. So it's like, Amy, swallow your pride, honey, and let's just knock this out. So I did 20 minutes. And then when I got off, I said there was this huge guy that was doing these like upside down crunches, like his whole body was going like upside. I mean, it was like, something out of a movie, like Mission Impossible, And so I said to him as I was walking past, I said, you have motivated me today to stay on plan. And he's like, listen, he goes, I do this so I can eat chocolate. That's what he said to me. So I had my moment of like total like identification. You know, this guy and I may not have much more in common except that we like chocolate. And so that was just sort of a fun moment for me. And then also just to examine my own. I feel like I'm being judged, and then meanwhile, you know, I'm also looking at them and feeling somewhat, you know, I have all these filters and preconceptions. So in the end, we're all just people, and we're all just trying to be healthy, and they are doing an excellent job, and I can do better. So that's all I'm going to say tonight. I'm going to get going here. I hope y'all have a lovely evening. I hope you were in orbit today. You had an on-plan day. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I don't normally say that, but it does help get my channel out there. I think that YouTube has an algorithm, so if you have likes or views, then if people look for Weight Watchers, they'll find my videos. And you know, it's fun to have more accountability and have more friends on my channel, so I do enjoy that. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being my friends out there and being so supportive and watching my travel videos. So good night. God bless. Bye.